Good day to all. Welcome to this lecture on unit number 4. So, in this lecture, we are going to see about the 8259 programmable interrupt controller. 8085 have interrupt processing module, but the interrupt processing module have only 6 kinds of interrupts. So, that is not mostly that is not going to be practically usable. So we need to have some of the uh, external interrupt controller for processing the interrupts in real-time applications. So the necessity of 8259 comes from these points. When a keyboard is going to be interfaced with the 8085, in order to read the ASCII characters, we need a separate chip. Or if you want to count the interrupts from a timer to produce a real-time clock. So in order to produce the real-time clock, we need to count the number of ticks generated by the clock source. So that to be counted into seconds, into minutes, and into hours, and it may go up to days or months or years. So in order to implement the real-time clock, we need 8259 communicating with the A to D converter and communicating with the printers. And if you have to detect the several emergency signals like power failures or any real-time signals, we need to have a specially designed interrupt controller that is called as 8259. So functions of 8259 is going to be a prioritized interrupt controlling. So it will do the importance to the highest priority interrupts, and it may be uh, programmed to the interrupt controlling and the interrupt processing depending upon the users criteria. So that is one thing. Another one is a special program for each and every peripheral which needs the service of the microprocessor may be given as a separate programs or separate interrupt service routines, so that can be accessed and that type of services may be rendered for the peripherals from the microprocessors. And somehow the input informations, the vector interrupt numbers may be fed into the CPU. So after issuing an interrupt, 8259 will give the access to that particular uh, interrupt service routine through the CPU. So this is a function of the 8259. Here we have given a connection diagram of 8259 with a microprocessor. Here the microprocessor address lines, the AD0 to AD7 are connected to the D0 to D7. Interrupt acknowledge signal is being connected, and the interrupt signal is connected with the interrupt request pin of the microprocessor. So this kind of connection is going to be called as the single mode. The microprocessor and the 8259 may be connected with the cascade mode also. So in the cascade mode, we may be connected with several 8259 chips. The 8259 chips may be connected with several peripherals. So whatever may be the case, the number of 8259 increases above 1, then that particular mode is called as cascaded mode. So in the cascaded mode, the each and every 8259 may be treated as slaves, and one of the 8259 will be treated as master. So from the master, the microprocessor will be getting connected, and the slaves are being instructed by the master. So from that instructions and the other configurations will will make the 8259 to work as master slave configuration. So this kind of configuration are going to be called as cascade mode configurations. This is the internal block diagram of 8259. In this we are having three important registers called interrupt request register. So here the interrupt request from the peripherals are given in this particular 8 pins. So 8 pins are given in the pin diagram also. So the data that is data transfer from the microprocessor to the peripherals, or peripherals to the microprocessor, will be taken place by this data bus, and this data bus is going to be controlled by the priority resolver and the other registers. So this interrupt request register is going to check whether what kind of device has requested the interrupt is registered in this particular register. So the amount of priority which is segmented for that particular interrupt may be recorded with the particular interrupt service register, in service register or interrupt service register. If that particular interrupt have any mask, or it has been unmasked, maybe checked with this particular interrupt mask register. So by these three registers, the interrupt priority resolver will resolve the interrupt, the level of the interrupt that has been generated by the peripheral. So depending upon the priority of that particular interrupt, the interrupt will be resolved, and that particular decision making are going to be taken by this control logic unit. So this data buffer may be used as a data buffering of the data from one particular peripheral to the microprocessor, or it may be used as a master mode bus, or the slave mode bus, whatever may be the connection. Either it may be a single mode connection or a cascade mode connection, depending upon the configuration of the particular mode. This data bus will be used. Here the read and write signals are used for reading and the writing of the data from the particular peripheral or to the peripheral. So that is depending upon the control signal which is given by this read and write signals. A0 is going to be the control address register, address pin for any of the peripheral control registers. Whether that particular control register is need to set or reset, that can be programmed by this particular bit A0. Chip select is going to be used for selecting the 8259, the multi 8259 interrupt kind of architectures or systems. This CAS was 0 to CAS 2 are going to be used as the cascade mode operation. So in the cascade mode operation, so the 8259 may be used as a master or a slave, depending upon the usage of that particular 8259 in that system. This CAS is going to be used for the slave connections and the master connections. So whether the particular system is used as a slave or it is a master, it is controlled by this particular pin. If it is going to be slave, then this particular pin is going to given as 1, or if it is going to be 0, then it is going to be acted as a data buffer. So this is how the particular internal block diagram of 8259 will work. So here some of the notes are being given, so you can go through this. Here the interrupt operation of the 8259 has been given. Steps are will be like this. So interrupt operation is based upon the control words which we are giving for the 8259. It is two type of control words. One is initialization command word, another one is operation command word. So depending upon this particular control words, the interrupt operation will be taken on the 8259. So the interrupt operation is started when the peripheral is requesting a interrupt, requesting a service to the microprocessor that is being treated as a interrupt. So that interrupt is being recorded in the interrupt request register, and the priority resolver take the three registers called interrupt request register, interrupt mask register, and the interrupt service register. So depending upon the values which are recorded in this particular interrupt request register is read and the mask has been read, whether that particular interrupt has been masked or not, that has been read, and the ISR will give the level of that particular interrupt, whether it is highest priority or lowest priority or whatever may be the level of that particular uh, interrupt has been checked with that particular ISR. So depending upon these values, the priority resolver will give the uh, control logic for that particular interrupt, and if that interrupt is selected as a uh, serviceable interrupt, then that particular interrupt is being acknowledged to the microprocessor. So when the microprocessor acknowledges the interrupt, it sends the interrupt acknowledgement signal. Upon after the interrupt acknowledgement signal received, A8259 uh, will set the priority bit in the ISR. Upon setting the priority bit in the ISR, it will reset the IRR, that is the interrupt request registers pin as the reset one. So upon the reset of the interrupt request register, the call instruction will be placed in the microprocessor's data bus. So as we know, the reset of microprocessor will trigger a call instruction. If in that call instruction the calling address may be given in the next upcoming interrupt acknowledgement cycles. So that and all we have seen in the timing diagram itself. So interrupt acknowledgement signals will be generated upon the call instruction. So the two interrupt acknowledgement signals will be generated. So in the first interrupt acknowledgement, that is the second interrupt acknowledgement signal will be placed with the lower order byte, and the third interrupt acknowledgement will be placed with the higher order byte. So upon this particular two bytes are placed in the microprocessor's data bus, the call instruction will go to that particular address. The vector memory location will be reached, and the vector interrupt vector ISR is going to be executed. Here you have to notice one thing, that when the vector interrupt vector ISR is executed, after finishing that particular ISR, the particular end of interrupt signal will be generated. So that particular end of interrupt signal is maybe automated or maybe a normal one. So if it is going to be a automated or a normal one, the interrupt will be processed, and it will go to the normal operation of the microprocessors programs. But there may be some prioritized mode for this particular based upon this particular end of interrupt signal that will be coming in the upcoming slides. So programming of 8259 is is done with the initialization command word and the operation command words. The initialization of the initialization command words are four in nature. So the four initialization command words in that particular four initialization command words, we will be having three for single mode operation and only one for cascaded mode operations. ICW3 will be for cascaded mode, and other ICW1, ICW2 and ICW4 will be used for the single mode operations. So the ICW1 is will be like this. In this, D0 bit will be used for whether the ICW4 is needed or not. And the D1 will be used for whether the particular 8259 is going to be used as a single mode or a cascaded mode, and D2 will be used to program whether the particular call address interval is depending upon interval of 4 or interval of 8. So what does it means is, if the particular 8259 is being used with the polling the 8259, whether it is used with the polling mechanism or it is used with the vector mechanism, that is been decided by this particular interval 4 for the polling mechanism, interval 8 for the vectoring mechanism. So that can be programmed here. And whether the particular signals are to be used with the level triggering or edge triggering can be programmed here with the D3. So level triggering means if it is going to be either 0 or 1, that is going to be a level triggering. Edge triggering means the transition from the 0 to 1 or from the 1 to 0 is going to be called as the edge triggering. And next, the D5 to D7 bits are going to be used for 8085. So if it is going to be the vector addresses, and for ICW2 will be used for the both 8085 and 8086, whether the particular vector address is going to be for 8 bits, then it is going to be used with the 8085. For the 5 bits, last 5 bits, if it is going to be programmed, then it is going to be used for the 8086. So this kind of settings can be done with the ICW2. And with the ICW3, it is going to be used only for the mastering mode, that is the cascading mode operation. So that particular ICW3, whether the particular 8259 is going to be used as a master means, then this particular bits are going to be whether what device is going to be a master, what device is going to be a slave, and the slave numbers will be numbered by this particular ICW3 register as shown in the slide. So the ICW4 is going to be a peculiar initialization register. So here you may be noticing that this D0 is going to be set whether the particular using microprocessor is 8085 or 8086. So depending upon that particular bits, we can set the microprocessor whichever we are using. And for the end of interrupt mode, the end of interrupt mode may be set as either as auto or a normal mode. So as we have discussed previously, and whether the particular 8259 is going to be used with a buffered mode or a non-buffered mode. Non-buffered mode means the data will be transferred to a single or a a single microprocessor or a single peripheral means it is going to be a non-buffered. If it is going to be a multiple cascaded mode of operation, then it is going to be buffered one. The buffered mode, we can use the particular buffer mode in the slave mode operation or in the master mode operation. So whatever may be the setting, we can set that particular modes like we have seen in the slide. And if it is going to be a special fully nested mode means whether the particular interrupt is being processed is a highest priority interrupt, then the nesting of the interrupt from the highest priority to the lowest priority is abandoned, or whether that particular interrupt processing is the lowest priority. When a highest priority interrupt is coming and interrupting the 8259, the particular interrupt control will be shifted to the lowest priority to the highest priority. In this kind of nesting or a preempting of the lowest priority to the highest priority is called as the special nested special fully nested mode of operation. So this mode of operation may be useful when we are dealing with the hard real-time systems and the very faster kind of operations. In those modes we can use this SPNM mode. So whether we are going to set this particular SFNM mode or not can be taken care here. And the next one is going to be operation command words. Operation command words, 3 operation command words are available. One is the mask mode masking operation command word. Here the interrupt mask may be masks, maybe the mask may be setted or the mask may be resetted. So the what peripheral is going to be masked or what peripheral is going to be unmasked may be setted with this OCW1. So in the OCW2, this particular interrupt request level may be setted upon the particular devices. So depending upon the device name and the interrupt level, the interrupt request level is going to be setted with the number of interrupt requests upon the particular device. So we can set whether the particular device is a lowest priority or highest priority depending upon the values whichever we are setting. So when we are setting the highest number, then it is going to be lower priority. If we are going to set with the higher number, then it is going to be a lower priority. Here we can set with the end of interrupt command. Here we can notice that a non-specific end of interrupt command and a specific end of interrupt command. Non-specific end of interrupt command means whenever we are having a higher priority interrupt is being processed, when the end of interrupt comes, then that particular end of interrupt command is jumped into the other lower priority, that is the next lower priority interrupt. If it is going to be the case, then that is going to be a non-specific end of interrupt command. So here from this setting we can set this particular setting for the device, for the systems where the highest priority will be given the highest priority and the next priority and next priority. So in the last if we are taking the lowest priority task means, then this kind of higher to the lower hierarchical placement of the task, then we can go for this non-specific end of interest commands. If we are having a specific end of interest command, then if the particular highest priority task is running, if we want to jump to a specific number of specific numbered task, whether it may be a highest priority or it can be a lowest priority. If we are setting the particular specific numbered uh, priority next to the particular highest priority, then it is going to be a specific end of interrupt command. uh, Rotated non-specific end of interrupt command means it will be working similar to the non-specific end of interrupt command, but it will be the priority order will be rotated, and that is, it is going to be reversed when the particular first first processing of the highest or the higher priority command, higher priority task or the instruction. Rotate in the automatic end of interrupt command, and the others are going to be this similar in the nature whatever we have discussed with the non-specific and the specific end of interrupt command. So we can set this kind of operations in the particular operation command words. So here the slides are giving the explanations which we have said in here. Here the last one is going to be OCW3. So here we can set whether we need to read the registers, the interrupt request register or a interrupt service register. So we can set whether we are going to read the interrupt request register or interrupt service register, depending upon the values which we are setting here. So if these kind of uh, inputs are going to be given, then no action will be taken. If we are going to set with the polling or a vector polling for interrupt processing, then we can go for this particular setting. If whether we are going to use the poll, and it is going to be 1. Whether we are going to use the vector interrupt, then we are going to go for the 0. Special mask mode may be activated when we are having the special mask of any specific interrupts. Then we can go for this particular setting. If we want to reset, then we can go for this particular 0 1, and if we want to set, then we can go for the 1 1.